Here's an easy way to add alter sounds to your solos just using simple triad shapes. Now we're going to be playing over a 2-5-1 in the key of C. My chords are going to be D minor 7 for my 2 chord, G7 alter for my 5 chord, and C major 7 for my 1 chord. We're mainly going to be focusing on the 5 chord, G7 alter. Now first and foremost, there are 4 alterations that we can play over a dominant chord. The flat 9, the sharp 9, the flat 5, and the sharp 5. Now we can use different chord synonyms for these voicings, but at the end we're going to have the same sound and result. For example, a G7 flat 9 can also be a B fully diminished chord, or a G7 sharp 5 can also be a G7 flat 13. Here are some examples for these altered chords. G7 flat 9, no root, I got the flat 7, the major 3rd, the 5th, and the flat 9 on the melody. Whole step up is going to be G7 sharp 9. Right, again, flat 7, major 3rd, 5th, sharp 9. Here I have a flat 5 chord with a root on the bass. I got the root, the flat 7, the major 3rd, and the flat 5. If I bring that flat 5 a whole step up, I got a G7 sharp 5. Root, flat 7, major 3rd, sharp 5. Now let's talk a little bit about what we can play over these chords. Maybe you have heard this concept before, but over an altered chord you can play a melodic minor scale starting half step above from the root of the chord. So in this example, if I'm playing G7 altered chord, I'm going to go half step above from the root, in this case A flat, and I'm going to play my melodic minor scale. Now a melodic minor scale is no more than the minor scale with the natural 6 and the major 7. Now we're playing over G alter, so the idea is going to be to relate these notes to G. So A flat, that is the first note of the melodic minor scale, is actually the flat 9 of G. Then B flat, that is the second note, is the sharp 9. Then B is going to be the major 3rd. Then D flat is going to be the flat 5. Then E flat is going to be the sharp 5. Then F is going to be the flat 7. G is going to be the root. And A flat again is the flat 9. This means that if we play the A flat melodic minor starting from G, we're going to have a mode here. It's called the super Locrian mode, also known as the alter scale, because you have all the alterations here. Of course, you have the root, the flat 9, the sharp 9, the major 3rd, the flat 5, the sharp 5, the flat 7, and the root again. Now, ideally, it would be great to learn your melodic minor shapes all over the fretboard, like we do with the major scale using the cage system. But here's a little hack that you can use using triads. We're going to achieve the same sound using familiar shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to be to harmonize that melodic minor scale using triads. I'm going to use root position triads on strings 2, 3, and 4. The idea here is going to be to look for similar patterns compared to the major scale that is a more familiar sound. So let's harmonize the A flat melodic minor scale using triads. The 1 chord, A flat minor. The 2 chord, B flat minor. Right away, I have a really familiar pattern here, 2 minor chords together, right? This happens in the major scale, right? For example, if I'm playing the G flat major scale, G flat is the 1 chord, A flat is the 2 chord, and B flat is the 3 chord. Here's my familiar pattern, 2 minor triads together. That's a good start. Let's go to the 3 chord, augmented, B augmented. It's good to know, but maybe I'm not going to use this triad, but it's good to know that in the melodic minor scale, the 3 chord is augmented. Now let's go to the 4 and the 5 chord. They're both major, in this case D flat major and E flat major. These are the triads that I'm going to play around with. But let's finish the scale. 6 chord, F diminished, 7 chord, G diminished, and I'm back on A flat minor. So now let's play with the 4 and the 5 chord, right? A really familiar pattern here. 2 major chords together. This happens in the major scale too, right? If I'm playing in the key of A flat major, my 1 chord is major, my 4 chord is major, and my 5 chord is major. In this case, we're playing in the A flat melodic minor, right? But again, my 4 chord is major, and my 5 chord is major. So first and foremost, learn your major triads all over the fretboard, right? If you know that you're going to play over D flat and E flat, learn your D flats all over the fretboard. If D flat is here, a whole step up is going to be E flat. If D flat is here, a whole step up is going to be E flat. If D flat is here, a whole step up is going to be E flat. Let's do the same on strings 2, 3, and 4. I got D flat, to E flat, D flat, to E flat, D flat, to E flat. Now this lesson can be a little bit hard to understand, but there are so many little concepts that you can take away from this lesson. How about just learn your major chords all over the fretboard? Now, if we're going to play D flat and E flat over G, and this sounds a little bit confusing, don't worry about the G note. Take the G note away and just learn your D flat and E flat triads all over the fretboard. That's going to help you a lot to become a better guitar player. But again, back to that concept of playing D flat and E flat over G, because remember, we're playing over an alter chord, right? Let's go back to the beginning. We're playing a 2-5-1 in the key of C, and we're focusing more on this alter chord. We want to learn the melodic minor scale all over the fretboard, but we decided to use simple triad shapes to get the same sound. Now let's analyze these two simple major triads but over G, right? So D flat over G, I have this sound. It's a lot of tension, right? G is my root, of course. I have the flat 5, I got the flat 7, and I got the flat 9. So right away I have two alterations just playing a D flat major triad. So now let's go a whole step up to E flat over G, of course, right? I got the root, I got the sharp 5, I got the root again, and I got the sharp 9. So I have those two alterations that I was missing here. So now by playing these two major triads over G, I have the 4 alterations of music. And of course this wants to result to the 1 chord C major. So now again, a small recap to understand this concept. You have an alter chord anywhere on the guitar, in this case G7 alter, right? You go a half step up, you play the melodic minor scale, that is no more than the minor scale with the natural 6 and the major 7. We are relating these notes to G, so we have a mode here, the super Locrian mode, right? So again, I'm playing the same scale, but I'm starting from G. Now we said that we could learn all the shapes all over the fretboard, but there is an easier hack. First, you want to harmonize the scale using triads. In this case, A flat melodic minor, right? The triads go like this. The 1 chord is minor, 2 chord is minor, 3 chord is augmented, 4 chord is major, 5 chord is major, 6 chord is diminished, 7 chord is diminished, and back to the 1 chord minor. So for this example, we're using the 4 chord that is D flat major, and the 5 chord that is E flat major. But we're playing it over G, so we have a lot of alterations here. So now that's the concept. If you understand that, then you can create music with these ideas. So now let's go back to the 2-5-1 chord progression and try to create some solo ideas using this concept. So for example, one I'm going to keep it a little bit easier, but before playing over an alter chord, there is a D minor chord, right? And I'm going to use this cool formula. 4 notes of arpeggio plus 4 notes of the scale. Joe Pass make this really famous. So I'm going to have this root position triad D minor, flat 7, and now 4 notes of the scale. So that's my lick for D minor, all 8th notes, just doing this. That's D minor. Now here comes the G7 alter. I'm going to use the triads, right? I'm going to go D flat and E flat, right? But I'm going to play them melodically. I'm going to start actually with E flat, the 5 chord, and I'm going to go like this. And check it out, I'm just half step away from a chord tone of C that is my 1 chord. That's actually the 5th of C. So harmonically I have this, D minor. Then for G alter again I play E flat, D flat, and here comes the 1 chord C major. It's just that it's a solo, so I'm using this information as a melody. It goes like this. And then some notes in the key of C, right? All diatonic, finishing in a chord tone of C major. Now for example 2, the idea is exactly the same. I'm just spicing up a little bit more the rhythm. So D minor 7, the 2 chord, I have this root position, triad strings 3, 4, and 5, plus the flat 7. So that's my information, right? I'm going to start actually from the 5th. I'm going to slide from the flat 5 all the way up. And then I'm going to run the scale back to D. And here comes the triads, right? Again, I'm playing over G, but I want to use D flat and E flat. And I'm going to play them like this, like a melody. 1 note on the root, and then 2 notes per string. Root, 3rd, 5th, 2 E flat, root, 3rd, 5th. Now remember, we're playing over G, so I'm going to bring a G major triad too. Why not? Root, 3rd, 5th. And now here I have a D flat. Root position triad strings to 3 and 4, and half step below is the chord tone of C major. So for my G alter chord, I have this sound. And I'm back on C. So slower, D flat major, E flat major, G major, remember we're playing over G alter, D flat major, root position triad, and half step below is the chord tone of C. And then again I'm playing some notes in the key of C.